So, good morning. My name is Ailsa Kepi, and I'm curator of the group Women Healing from Emotional Abuse with Power, Passion, and Pleasure. As well, I have lots of coaching and other services available to do with healing, wholeness, integrity, health, wellness. You can find out more about me at pleasureforhealth.com. Today, I thought we'd, go back to the basics and look at what are the signs of an abusive relationship. We are being inundated by so many different types of abuse right now in the world, like on a macrocosmic level and also on a microcosmic level, that many of us are really struggling with how to recognize the signs of an abusive relationship and, how do we move forward once we do recognize those signs, and maybe why don't we want to actually take in that we're in an abusive relationship or that somebody is abusive. So we're going to cover all of that today. So like I said, if you are somebody who likes to take notes, get a notebook and pen. Otherwise, this video will be recorded in the group and on YouTube, so you can access it again at any point. So I'm just going to go through and talk about some of the signs of an abusive relationship, some of which I can speak to personally, having been through a number of abusive relationships before finally finding my way out of that and into a more empowered place within relationships. But let's talk about what that looks like. So one thing that comes up is that somebody might stop you seeing friends and family. Now, this may come on gradually. This isn't always something that someone does. No, you can't see any of your friends. They're not usually that crass about it. They're usually very clever about manipulating you into not wanting to see your friends, into believing that you are, making them feel bad. I think some lines that were used on me was like, well, I don't really get on with your family. They don't really like me. I don't think, we should go visit. It would be better for you to not, I was actually Muslim as well. And we'll talk a little bit about how religious dogma or cultural expectations can add to the abusive relationship. But things that, women shouldn't visit men alone. And, I don't have time to go right now. So, you just have to be patient, or, we'll go out sometime, later, and then later never comes. So they kind of gradually work their way. It's like, well, you never spend any time with me. I've been working all week. Why do you want to go out and visit? I'm here and I'm your best friend. So they use all these kind of coercive ways of getting you to stay at home, basically, and not see your friends and family. So that's one of the signs. They won't let you go out without permission. Again, if you think about this as, oh, well, that never happens to me, think again, because it's not like you have, well, sometimes in the world today, it is like you have a punch pass and you can go places where you can't. But in a personal relationship, it's not usually like that. It's sort of, oh, well, I just worry about you. You need to tell me when you want to go places, and, you should wait for me to take you because that would be way better. They just have ways of putting it. But basically, they're saying, don't go out unless I say it's okay. So again, you want to really take a step back and go, well, have I actually gone out, or do I feel guilty? Like if I wanted to go get a pint of milk from the grocery store, could I go, or would, it be like, well, don't go, you're slamming the door in the morning, or you wake me up, or whatever the excuse is, they will make it seem like they're being reasonable. So they tell you what to wear. This is actually one I see a lot, especially, as I mentioned, I have daughters in their 20s, and a lot of times the guys will tell them like, oh, don't wear that because I'll be jealous if people are looking at you, or, wear this kind of stuff, or, that is an emotionally manipulative, abusive thing. Now, do any one of these things in and of themselves make a horrible abuser? Well, not necessarily. But I'm saying if you look at these signs and you start seeing a pattern, and if you speak to your partner or the person that's doing this, and they're not willing to at least look at how they could change their behavior, then you are setting yourself up for, an abusive relationship that is likely to just get worse and worse, because that's how these things go. So if someone starts off, telling you what to wear or not wear, and you feel that's okay because like they really care about me, or they just want me to look beautiful for them, trust me, I had all these lines put on me, and it makes you feel good at first. Well, sure, I want to just look good for you, I'll dress up for you at home or whatever, but it's a starting of control, and it just keeps getting more and more. So if you talk to them and you say, look, I understand that you have an interest in what I wear when I'm out with you, but I have an interest in that too. And let's talk about how we can kind of compromise so that we both feel like we're getting to do something of what we want. If they're not willing to have a decent conversation about that, and you're coming away frustrated and feeling not heard, then this is a serious thing. That is the start of an emotionally abusive relationship. If someone monitors your emails or your phone calls, again, it can be couched, well, I just want to make sure that, there's been lots of friends that have had abusive phone calls. I want to make sure that you don't get any of that. I just want to, my last girlfriend was, cheated on me, and I just have this thing, like, just let me look. I know you're really awesome and you're not anything like that, but I just want to, they'll make it seem okay. Again, if again, they'll control your finances. This is a big one. If somebody says to you, let's have a joint account, this is what we do when we're together, how about we put both our names on this or that or the other, please be careful and notice if you are doing this quickly. It takes 6 months to a year to even see the abusive patterns sometimes. So don't assume that you know someone after a couple of months, that you're going to move in together, sign a lease together, or a mortgage, or have a joint bank account and put all your earnings in there. Like, just think about it. Have your own account anyway. And, this is a really big deal. I made the mistake of putting my ex-husband on my phone bill and his cell phone. I got him a cell phone. He was looking for a job. I'm like, sure, I get that you need a cell phone when you're looking for a job, if people call you. So I got him a cell phone. It was on my plan. And let's just say I had a couple of months of thousands of dollars on his cell phone bill. And, it was just incredible how much money you could rack up on that. But, it was like, it was on my plan then, right? So you want to really watch how your finances get sorted out. Maybe they won't let you work, so they don't want you to have financial independence. But some people, I've talked to women that have had, accounts, like, here's $100 for groceries, and then they, that's an excuse for them to get angry with you if you can't make $100 last a whole week with a family with 3 kids. Like, it's crazy what you get put into with the finances. And financial abuse and emotional abuse goes together hand in hand so many times. So financially, you need to really look at what's going on. If they try to control what you read, what you watch, what you say, don't say this to this person, don't read, I got given a lot of instructions about what to say and not say to different people. Sometimes it was to cover up his lies, and it became more and more blatant. And, he would keep saying, well, if all the shit comes out and so finds out that I'm, doing this or married to you, and I've told them I wasn't so I could get a job, like whatever their excuse is, you're given instructions on what to say and not say, what to post on social media, all of the things. This is, again, abusive behavior, and it's not going to get better. If you try to keep him happy, keep them happy, it's a rolling line. You're going to keep them happy, and then they're not going to be happy with that, and then they're going to want more control, and then more and more. Before you know it, you are not having your own life at all. And if they punish you for breaking the rules, but the rules keep changing, like I said, it'll just keep getting more and more or different, or the rules for going out with me are this, but when you stay home, they're that. When you have the kids, they're this. When I'm with this friend, it's that. And you don't know, how are you supposed to it's like always your fault that you haven't followed the rules, and it was very clear to what you were supposed to do and not do. But to you, it wasn't at all clear. And why should you have to have rules for going out anyway? So this is something that we really need to start questioning. So I'm going to go through some more signs of an abusive relationship, but let's just take a breath here, because if you are one of those people out there that's like, oh shit, like all these things are true for me, and oh my gosh, and you want to switch off the video and you want to turn it off, and you're like, I can't listen to this right now, like, this is just ridiculous. Okay, let's take a breath together before you leave, before you just want to block it all out. Just shake it out, because it is really hard. This is the hardest step when I work with women. This is the hardest step, is to admit and to, let it in that we have been abused. And I'm just going to take another breath with you on that, because it's one thing to read all these things and, our brain after a while just goes, nope, that's not me. I'm going to turn the other way. I'm not going to listen to this anymore. You're just got this hate on for people or whatever it is. You're going to start blaming me. You're going to start blaming someone else. You're just not going to want to listen. So if that is happening to you right now, please take a breath. Just notice. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you are trying to survive. And trying to survive is okay. We're all trying to survive. And sometimes our survival depends on us not seeing this stuff, because we are really stuck in, a very, maybe even physically abusive relationship. We are stuck in a situation. And if we start seeing the truth, we're not going to be able to stay in this situation. And until we figure out an escape route, this can be really scary. So please take a breath. Just know that there's no judgment on you if you start feeling like you can't listen anymore. You don't want to face it. Some of the reasons that we don't want to look at this is because we're habituated to this behavior. We're habituated. I'm going to repeat that. We are told over and over from parents, grandparents, friends, family, religious leaders, cult leaders, like whatever was your background, cultural norms, social groups, that this is okay. Oh, just go hug your uncle. Why, that's okay. Why are you saying no? Maybe your uncle was abusive and you just had this recoil, or you just felt like it was slimy and you were forced to do that. You have been, as a kid, had your consent and your boundaries overridden so many times that you've become habituated to this. So there's one reason that, and as a kid as well, when we were young, we were reliant on our families. We're reliant on our parents. We're reliant on people to look after us for our survival. So you had to, if your parent was abusive, you had to just be like, well, I love them, so therefore it must be my fault. Or I love them, so I just need to disappear. These are all coping strategies. I love them, so I'm going to make up a story in my head about how my family is okay, about how I'm okay, about how my parents are just normal. I'm going to make that story my reality so that I don't have to deal with the incomprehensible fact that I'm in an abusive situation. So these things all happen and come up, and we are dealing with these old patterns. And that's why it feels normal to get with an abusive person, because maybe we've always had that in our lives. So it feels familiar. When something feels familiar, we can be tricked into thinking that that is love, or that's relationship, or that's intimacy. And, we kind of disregard our own self. If you had a particular place or role in your family, let's say you were the scapegoat, or you were the invisible good girl that always did what you were told, so you never caused a problem. That's the role that helped you survive those years, and now you continue to have that persona come up every time it's scary in an intimate relationship and you're getting too close to someone. And this comes up, and then you make yourself invisible. So these are coping strategies, and they're good coping strategies. However, we might be at this point getting to the point where we'd like to have a different experience, where we would actually like to have a fully present, intimate, empowering king or queen or partner, someone that we can actually have a life partner that is there for us as well. Maybe we want to have that. If we want to experience that, we are going to have to change. We have to do some work. We can't remain that same invisible little girl or that same scapegoat or that same fixer, rescuer that helped make everyone feel okay. If we are coming from those places, we are not going to have a different experience. We're going to have the same, we're going to attract people that want that, right? So those are a couple of reasons why this is difficult to hear. Our friends or family might also be in denial about the abuse. They might be telling themselves their own stories of magical thinking, like how I can just make this okay. Maybe your dad was an alcoholic, your mom was an empath and a codependent and enabler. And if you start calling abuse, then she might have to start calling abuse. And your dad, it means other people have to look at things differently. So your friends and family might be very invested in keeping that, illusion alive. And so they keep telling you, well, you shouldn't worry about that. That's normal. That's just a thing guys do. That's what happens, when you're married. Look at me. I've been in this for a long time, whatever. So all of that might be true, but they are keeping their own illusions and forcing you into doing that too. That happens as well. So yeah, if we're living in this place, this kind of dimension where we just have addicts and codependents and narcissistic vampire type people, that's the dimension. Those are the people we'll meet, and those are the people we'll mix with, and those people are very invested in keeping us in that reality because that's where they reside, and that's how the energetics works in that place. So if we want to have a different experience, trust me when I say there are other realities out there where those types of people just won't get attracted to you. They're just not there. They don't come to you, because if you are an empowered, advocate who, speaks up for yourself and has boundaries, like the vampire type people just don't come to your door. They don't turn up. They're not interested. They're not even going to try. So you just end up in a completely different reality with a different types of people that will be matching with your energetics. So this is something that is really important to work with as well. And I talked a little bit about how culture and religion can also get in the way of, us being able to see the abuse at all, because I know for me, and nothing against the religion of Islam at all, but I converted to Islam, and the religion can be used in a way that enables abuse in that way. It doesn't have to be, and I'm not dissing any particular religion, but there are many religions that are very patriarchal, that are very top down, that they can make a case for, women should be hit, all these things. They're in the Bible. It's in the Quran. It's like, you can take that out of context and use it to, kind of promote a version of abuse, which can make it harder to get out of, because of course, if you believe in a particular religious or spiritual path, you want to be practicing, right? So, that can be a very tricky place. So let's go back to looking at a couple more signs. Hopefully you're still here. If you had to turn this off, maybe you'll come back later and watch it. So another thing that as a sign you're in an abusive relationship will be that someone would tell you it's for your own good. This is for your own good. I know it's good for you. I've been in the place you're in. I know it's going to work for you to do it this way. You should just do what I say. So this is something that they can twist it in a way that sounds really compelling, and maybe they think they know better than you. If they don't allow you to question that is a sign of abuse as well. If they're not willing to engage in a conversation that you can have in this type of voice with, saying, this is how I feel when you say that, da, 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 and actually hear each other. If you're not able to have those types of conversations because they either walk out of the room, shut you down, get angry, or tell you why are you getting so stressed out about this? They're doing the best they can and become the victim. Those are the reactions you'll get if they're not able to have these conversations. And that will lead to an abusive pattern, like it or not. If they tell you you're crazy and no one agrees with you, or you're stupid, you're selfish, these are signs of an abusive relationship. They call you names for being, for being stupid as well. Like, you should know better. Like, why did you do that? And it's like, I've heard stories, so many stories from women when I talk to them on the phone, or I'm doing coaching with them, and they'll be like, yeah, they just, I would drop the bottle of milk or something like that, and that's the traditional, like, spilled milk. But anyway, I would drop something and it would be like, well, why are you doing that? Like, you should know better than that. You should know better than to have wet hands when you pick up something. Like, you're so stupid, da 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 da, and they start going off on you about something that everybody does. And that's the thing, everybody does those types of mistakes, but people that are in an abusive relationship will get blamed for those things, right? So we want to watch for those patterns. They might call you names, shame you, gaslight you, challenge your memory of events. Oh my gosh, I had this one big time. Like, I had to walk out of a meeting after I had left my ex. We have 4 children together. We had a breakfast meeting to sort of try and negotiate some kind of payment that he would make. And, I would be like, well, this is what happened and this is why and like, no, he had a completely different understanding of past events. And I was like, but no, this is what happened. And he's like, oh no, that never happened. Why would you come up with a story like that? That never happened. And in the end, I just walked out because there was no talking. Like, it was like, here's what I remember. And then I was being met with, oh, that never happened. That's not like that. I don't know why you're thinking of that. You must be thinking of someone else. So if you notice that, you're the one starting to doubt yourself all the time, then this is something to pay attention to. If he dismisses your opinions, he could be a woman. I've worked with women through my program that have had female abusers. So this is not a gender thing. And they could be, a non-binary queer person. It's a person that does this type of abuse is abusive, whatever gender they are. But if I use the term he, it's just, we'll just take that for all of it. Sorry for anyone doesn't like those pronouns. But, if they play the victim, if things go wrong, everything's your fault, that's a typical sign of someone who is going to be abusive. And, these are all, if you have maybe one of these signs, like once or twice, and you have a good talk about it and they change their behavior, you know what? That's great. We're not perfect. However, we have to get really honest, because I don't know how many times I've talked to women and they've explained to me their story, their history, and I can see it plain as day. They tell me, half an hour, they tell me their story. And it's obvious that they've had multiple abusers in their life. And they're like, oh, well, it's not that bad. And, I'll probably be fine. How many times I've heard that. And it's sad. It's also heart-wrenching. It's also just why I wanted to do this video on this topic, is because this is the first step. We have to get honest with ourselves. If we are lying to ourselves, we're actually going to manifest someone lying to us. If we're telling ourselves we're okay, everything's good, all of that, we're gonna manifest someone lying to us too, because that's what we're doing to ourselves. And I'm not victim blaming here, but this is how we take back our power, because we can change that. We can change the way we deal with ourselves. We can change that relationship with our own body, and that will shift the dynamics in your relationships, or it will just blast people out of your life altogether, and you'll, like I said, jump to a whole new reality where there's lots of people that have different energetics that will be attracted to you. So that is my main takeaway that I want you to get from this video is, if you are sitting on the fence and you wonder if you are being abused, just being in this patriarchal culture, just being female in this patriarchal culture probably means you have a lot of these tendencies to be abused by the culture, by the police, by the government, by the patriarchy, by men, by any type of, your boss, all of it. So we could do with learning about this anyway. So we can just start from the assumption that we've all had abusive relationships, that we've all been victimized in this way, and go from there. As women, we have. So I actually highly recommend that you look at doing a program like mine, or, do my program just out of that, because we want to empower ourselves in today's age, not to be, gaslighted and abused and manipulated and coerced and all the things. So something like that, you can start off just assuming, and there's no judgment on any of us. We've all been through it. I've been through it. And I'll tell you something, there is nothing so empowering as just standing in your shit, saying, I'm standing in shit, and I want to get over there and stand on some, beautiful grass. There is nothing so empowering as actually looking where you are and going, okay, this is where I am. The only place to go is up. So if you are thinking that and this video is helping, please do consider booking a free call with me. This is no obligation, no cost to you. I will offer you an hour of my time and we will talk about your situation and just hear your words saying what your story is. Tell me about it. Let's talk about where you're at. And how do we get to a place that we want to get to? And if there's something I can offer you that will help you get there, then I'll absolutely offer whatever I think is most relevant to your case. And if, I don't have anything personally, I do recommend different books or different courses or different people, or just a practice until you're ready. If you're not in my Facebook group, get in my free Facebook group, Women Healing from Emotional Abuse with Power, Passion, and Pleasure, because there's lots going on in there, lots of support. Just knowing you're in a sisterhood of people that understand what you've been through. So there's some options. But if this is really resonating with you, book a call with me. No obligation. And let's talk for an hour and get really clear. Let's make that first step. Where are you? Okay, I'm in the shit. Okay, great. Now we know where you are. Now we can chart a path out of there. But until you realize and accept that that's where you are, you're always going to make excuses, and you're always going to just find a way to not deal with the reality of where you are. And if you're not admitting where you are, there's no way you can draw a map out of there. So that's my biggest offering to you as we come to the holiday season. It's the perfect time to think about yourself, not in a narcissistic way, but in a way that if you heal yourself, you're healing your kids, your ancestors, the people around you, you're helping the earth. As we become more aware of this type of abuse, we can understand what Mother Earth is going through. There's so many layers to this work. So please do book a call with me. You can reach me at www.ailsakepi.com/apply. I'll put it in the comments. Please do reach out. I really look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much to Karen and Wendy and some other people that have joined in live. It was so nice to know there's people watching, and hopefully people will be catching the replay. So have a wonderful Friday, an empowering Friday. There's nothing more empowering than seeing clearly where we are, where you're standing right now, so that we can get you to where you want to get to. So reach out and let people know about the group if you have friends or other women that are interested in the Facebook group. And find out more about me, pleasureforhealth.com, and I'll talk to y'all soon.